His testimony is crucial to our case against Mathis. He can corroborate Benvenita's story, he can account for Kevin Stanton's lies to the police, and rehabilitate him as a witness.
In other words, you want him to admit that he improperly used an underage informant. He threatened that informant and placed him at risk, and that he obstructed justice. Anything else you want him to admit to? Like maybe the Lindbergh kidnapping?
Is your client on board, yes or no?
What does he get in return?
He stays out of jail.
And his job. He's 2 years away from vesting in his pension.
There's nothing I can do there. If it was just a matter of months, forget it. You'd rather have a felony conviction for obstruction?
Based on the testimony of a high school dope dealer and a murder suspect?
One, I never made a deal with the kid. I let him go because I felt sorry for him. He's the one that called me every week trying to sell me information. Two, I never got a call from Benvenita's.
You won't dig yourself out of this hole by lying, Detective.
You think I'm lying? Prove it. You got your witnesses, I got my record.
You did fine. I'll be in touch with you.
Hey, Kev?
If I'm not out in an hour, call for backup. Did your review of the
Thank you, Detective. You did the right thing.
Hey, what'd you say in there?
He can't discuss his testimony.
You rat me out, you son of a bitch.
Hey, lay off, Mark.
I want to talk to the grand jury.
Too late for that. I've given them the case. They're deliberating.
I have a right to testify.
He does, Mr. McCoy. Your Honor, pursuant to CPL 19050, my client has an absolute right to tell his story to the grand jury.
Mr. Golding never filed notice. If he wants to rely on the CPL, he should comply with it.
With all due respect, Mr. McCoy, what's the harm in letting Detective Rivera testify?
Your Honor, the jury began its deliberations an hour ago. I'd have to withdraw the charges from this panel and resubmit to another grand jury.
People v. Evans, a defendant's right to testify before the grand jury must be afforded every consideration.
In that case, the grand jury was convened without the defendant's knowledge. Detective Rivera had ample warning and every opportunity to file notice to appear.
What are you afraid of, McCoy? Your Honor, you gotta give me a chance here. The grand jury indicts me for manslaughter. My career is over. My career is my life.
Your Honor, you bend the rules for a defendant who happens to be a police officer. What message does that send?
Your Honor.
Your client had his chance, Mr. Golding. You could have filed earlier. I'm not going to make an exception here. I'm sorry, Detective. Request denied. If you'll excuse me.
Criminal negligence, with a sentence recommendation of 1 to 3 years to cover all counts after he's testified against Mathis.
A felony conviction and jail time.
Minimum time. It's a better deal than he'll get once the grand jury indicts him for manslaughter.
We'll take it. You'll stop the grand jury's deliberations.
I'll suspend them until after he testifies.
You know, McCoy, you want to put the bad guys behind bars, sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty.
The problem is, Detective, sometimes it doesn't stop at the hands.